are live as of now. So if someone could pull it up and just verify audio, that'd be great.
Yeah, let me do it right now.
Sweet.
Hey Max, are you good?
I'm good, yeah.
We're gonna want
Are
to
you
hear
still
from
playing
you, dude.
Control? You motherfucker. You still playing Control?
Huh? No, I'm playing Need for Speed.
Oh, okay.
He has a need for speed. You know, I hear that was good. Should I be playing that? I was considering getting a steering wheel and everything set up. There's a really cool one I wanted to buy,
Nah.
but it doesn't have a clutch pedal.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. You have to really spend some money if you want the...
No, this is one of the fancy ones. That's actually why I didn't get it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's trash.
Hmm.
So I'm not gonna worry about it. I'll get one eventually. I mean, it was hard. It was hard enough just finding a flight stick. You know, like everyone's talking about how. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Fry's Electronics, but they just like filed for Chapter 11.
Went out of business.
They just went out of business,
Yeah, they
and
went down.
the only thing I ever bought from there was when I was building my PC. I bought an extra couple of fans, and what was absolutely ridiculous was I went there, or I called them to try and get a flight stick, and they're like, yeah, no, we wouldn't carry anything like that. And I'm like, what do you mean you wouldn't carry anything like that? Like, you're a fucking electronics outlet that sells all sorts of PC parts. How could you not carry something like that? And I'm not gonna lie, trying to find one online was like next to impossible. They're all from China now. Everything. Yeah. 20 years ago, my dad was saying everything's made in China. Oh no, that was the tip of the iceberg. It's all really from China now.
Yeah.
Like, it's as China as you get, you know. I bought lingerie the other day for my wife from China. All right, you can't even find it here. You can't even find it here. We don't even make it. So there's 11-year-old Chinese children packaging up, you know, teddies and lingerie sets, just going, oh, look at these degenerate Americans.
Yeah, exactly. And the worst part, and those are the good ones. The bad ones, they're the 11-year-old Chinese people. Instead of making lingerie, they have to wear them for Jeffrey Epstein.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God.
Thanks, Rocky.
Well, thankfully, no one's wearing anything for Jeffrey Epstein anymore. Why? No one's wearing anything for him anymore. Jesus. You know, one day we're gonna learn all the secrets of like the political world, and that's gonna be that's gonna be the one. It's gonna be like the Columbus thing. It's gonna, like, you know, you grow up hearing, oh, Columbus was a guy that, like, you know, discovered America and whatnot, and then by the time you hit high school, they're like, no, that's a lie. This is gonna be the Epstein story in, like, you know, 400 years.
Okay. Sorry for interrupting. So you want us all to be tuned into your stream and to mute it so you can get those views. Is that right?
Well, it's mainly because I want someone to be able to monitor audio. That's the goal.
Okay. The problem is that it's hard for us to monitor audio.
All right. All right. That's like the unspoken, like, thing there.
Speak of this.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll just run Apex in the corner and hang out. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, call me hater all you want, Aaron. I actually think this looks really good. I'm looking at it right now. And
yeah, I kind of like it.
This is perfect, actually, because you get to see some gameplay on the side in case we're boring.
Uh-huh.
But the main focus is on us, like, having a good time.
Exactly. And so you get to watch, you know, people get to watch me die constantly.
Dude, seriously, are you really rocking? What is that, 33rd repeater?
Yeah, the 33rd. Dude, it's no, obviously, but I didn't pick one up. Yeah, don't worry about me. Apparently, if you rip the arm off of the Merv and then, like, take it to another Merv that doesn't have an arm or something, then you get like I don't know, something happens. I don't know what.
So here's a good transition. So at the funeral yesterday, I got to see my brother for the first time in, I don't know, 2 years or
Uh-huh.
something. And he was sitting in front of me, and I realized that my dad was like really. I can curse on the stream, right? I can.
Yeah, man. Yeah, curse all you want.
Okay, good. So my dad, like clearly his hair and jeans were completely fucked, right?
Uh-huh.
And so like he was losing the front and the back by the time he was like 35.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm looking at
Jesus.
my brother, and he's losing a little bit in the back, and I'm losing a little bit up front. I'm like, yep, we are definitely brothers. We took those guys and split them 50-50.
50-50. Nice.
Yeah.
Jesus. How does that feel, man? Like, I don't know. You've had gray hair for like
Ever,
the long,
Before I
for
started smoking.
forever.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. Like, I always told people like I don't care if I'm gray. I just want to have hair, right? But like, I also have come to the realization that, maybe it's Joe Rogan, but like you can like, what's more disgusting? Oh, hold on, give me a shot at. I'll wait.
No, that's fine. The game's not important.
Okay. So Joe Rogan, like, he's probably the most famous bald person on the planet. He looks like a thumb, right?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, but
He looks like one of those thumb guys from Spy Kids.
yeah, he made a good point. Like what's more like depressing? Someone who shaved their head, or someone who refuses to admit they're bald and tries to hide it. And
I never understood products like that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's like if you're bald, because all right, so you got two kinds of guys that don't have perfect hair, all right? You've got guys that are obviously just bald and look good, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, or you have guys that are obviously just trying to hide the fact that they're balding. They don't look good. Like when has that ever been a good look for anybody? You know?
I told my wife about 2 years ago. I said, hey, listen, I don't think I'm gonna go completely bald because my dad lost it more than I did, but there's a good chance. And so I said I'm not insecure about it. I just told her, I said, hey, if I become bald and I'm your bald husband, then I just have to start working out so I look like Mr. Clean.
Yeah, there you go. You just gotta be yoked, man.
So anyways, after she bought the Costco size package of Rogaine,
Rogan. Jesus.
Like, can you please be bald more? Like Rogaine doesn't work.
Can you be more bald?
If you get
Just
more
go
bald,
all out at
I'd
this
rather
point.
have a
Don't
bald
bother.
man with a six pack than a fat guy with hair.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's why I love her so much. She's fucking adorable.
That's hilarious. No, I mean she's not wrong though. Shoot.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'd rather be bald and ripped than have a big head of hair. But here's the thing: I don't know anyone who's actually bald. But if they were to be asked the same question, they'd probably say the opposite. So I guess it's just a case of grass is always greener,
Yeah, you know what? Probably. That's the military has a huge problem with that, right? Like whenever you talk to guys, because what soldiers do is they just stand around in circles like their entire careers for short periods at a time, or for long periods at a time, and then they do something for a short period of time, and then they just go right back to the circle, and they either smoke or they don't smoke. And then there's always the one guy that doesn't smoke because he's like Mormon. But
Oh, that's the worst. And they sit around there like.
well, yeah, because they
"No,
never
no,
have cigarettes for you, like if you're out. But and so they just spend the whole time talking about how their last duty station was the best duty station they've ever been to. The duty station they're going to is going to be even better, and then the duty station you're at is always trash.
Of course.
Always. Greener pastures mentality.
Okay, so Rocky, what are you playing right now?
Nothing, man. I'm just talking to you guys.
Oh, okay.
That's a shame.
I'm playing Ashen, but right now I'm just hanging out with you. Ashen.
How is Ashen? How do you like that?
Paul, is that kind of where you were going with? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it a lot, actually. I think I was telling Maxim for sure. I was telling you guys as well that like Ashen is really interesting mix because they take Dark Souls style gameplay, but they wrap it into a serene and like beautiful kind of almost like impressionist world instead of dragons and fire and brimstone. So
Yeah, it's not so heavy on all that, is it?
yeah, it's actually I would never say this, but like The last time I felt so relaxed playing a Souls-like was Fallen Order. I fucking love Fallen Order.
Oh, Fallen Order was great.
I'm actually glad that you like it too, man. Because I mean, you're the Star Wars guy here. I mean, you and Paul, but like definitely both of you know more than I do. I thought it was great. I fucking loved the characters. I loved the story. I loved the game design. I loved how it felt to play. Like it was intense when it needed to be, but it was actually pretty chill if you just needed to relax a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun to explore.
Like 3 times, right?
No, I've played through the whole game once, and then I was on a second playthrough when I was really interrupted by like 9 other games.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I like
That
Fallen Order.
happens.
It was a really great way to take the sort of Dark Souls game philosophy, but turn it into a good enough. Into a game. Yeah. Well, I thought it was a good melding of Star Wars ideas and sort of Dark Souls game design.
No, you're absolutely right. Actually, that's one thing I love so much about it is that fact that it mixes. Well, it makes.
Enough love.
Fuck, I don't really care about that, but like, you find redheads fucking everywhere. But it did mix the Star Wars property with a new style of gameplay, right? Because Star Wars games have typically followed this formula of we're gonna find a role in Star Wars to explore, like being a pilot, or being a Jedi, and like that's the whole thing. And oh shoot, and then Fallen Order is like, well, let's just take a gameplay philosophy and we'll just mix it with that.
Before we continue, I want to make sure our friends are included. Paul, Max, did you guys ever play Fallen Order, or do you know anything about it, or no?
No, I didn't play Fallen Order. I
Shame.
always intended to pick it up. I know, and I'm a big Star Wars dork, and I should have picked it up, but I never got around to it. And now I need to.
Yeah, you do.
One thing that is probably underrated that the reviews probably didn't mention, but I don't know. I want to get your perspective as well. Sorry you died, by the way.
That's okay.
But one thing I really fucking loved about Fallen Order was the home, right? That home planet you would go back to.
Bogano, yeah.
Yeah, and like there was like a freeform nature to it. And what I loved most about it was that the more you're able to improve your abilities and progress through the game, the more that your home world had more stuff to access. I thought that was such a really great way for gamers to kind of feel like home at Pagano, because they would play a bit, they'd explore, and they'd play more and get some upgrades, and they could say, oh look, this place that is the safe place is actually much more open than I thought. Sort of like I don't expect you to play Control, and spoilers, I guess, but
I would like to. Yeah.
Well, Maxim told me that at one point in the game you get to learn how to fly. And
I've seen clips of that.
Yeah, because the game is very segmented, and it appears as though there's only one way, this or that. But once you get this ability, it recontextualizes the entire environment, and you find secrets everywhere. Isn't it right, Max? Weren't you telling me that like after you learn to fly, you're going back to old areas and secret? Am I?
It's kind of a roguelike.
No, yeah, that's correct.
Castlevania,
Or that's what I meant. Sorry, I don't know why. I just misspoke. What's your favorite thing, Max? You were talking. What's your favorite thing about Control?
God, I think honestly, I like games with good story, and that game had really good story.
That's why I like you.
It did. Yeah.
Story makes or breaks a game for me. Now, I hate those like story click adventure games. I don't care about those at all. Like what is it called?
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange. Like I don't really care about crap like that. But
if you look at the developer, they actually meant it to be Life is Feminism. But okay.
I don't care. I don't care about that. But it's not like there needs to be gameplay that is. I like story that is reinforced by gameplay, even if it's like a simple gameplay loop. It doesn't have to be super complicated, but it has to be There has to be something there. And so games that are just really focused on this, on we're just telling a story. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like it just tells me we're not good at the game mechanics aspect of games. And that's fine. Like, play to your strengths. That's actually what I'm trying to do is play to my strengths. That's why I'm focusing on writing and, learning how to do storyboarding and stuff, because those things are already that I have some innate talent and experience at. But, yeah. But yeah, Control actually did set a good atmosphere. I downloaded it because it went free on PlayStation, and I wanted to have it, but I'm in the middle of a couple other things. I'm still doing Witcher and things like that. So, but it's good. It's good stuff.
The way I described it, the reason is that it was sort of like Twin Peaks meets X-Files. But with a really fun Cold War bent to it. And I watched Maxim play, and I guess he unlocked some outfit for his character. And I swear to God, it looked exactly like Scully from the X-Files. And, she was my first crush.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And once I saw that, I'm like, okay, I gotta play this eventually just so I can be Scully, flying around and killing demons.
Gillian Anderson is in this show on Netflix, this English show called Sex Education, where she plays this the divorced mom of the protagonist, this male high schooler, but she's a sex therapist, and she's like super like auteur and like stuff like that, and so he has like all these problems directly related to like being raised by a woman like that, like a mother like that.
Oh my god, dude! Oh my god, I wish she created an OnlyFans because I would.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, right. No, she's still gorgeous, like at her age.
Oh yeah.
She's hilarious in the show. It's pretty funny. I'd recommend it. It's got like 2 seasons out right now.
Hold on, I'm gonna actually write down. I want to. What you say it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
What's the show called?
Sex Education.
Is it more of a comedy? Is it a dramedy?
It's like a dramedy. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it gets a little political here and there. Not necessarily in a bad way. It's not super heavy. I like it. It's fun.
Not like The West Wing, the fucking worst TV show ever.
The West, Paul? Yeah. God, that you still have not watched, right? Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. He had all this time to watch it, and then it got taken off Netflix in December, and now he can't watch it.
I know.
I have an HBO Max account. I will let you borrow my password if you promise you will sit there and you will watch
just watch all 8 seasons at one time.
Just do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Paul says, "Hey Rocky, if you really were a good friend, you would just sit down and watch 500 episodes of this TV show from the 90s."
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. If you were a real friend, Rocky, you would do this.
Well, I'm a strong like 90s, early 2000s liberal. So frankly, it might just be political masturbation for me, based off what Aaron was telling me.
Yeah.
I think I might like it a lot more than.
No, you would love the politics. You're gonna watch the show and what you're gonna wonder is how did we get so far?
Yeah. Dude, I love the politics of Veep, and that's a fucking amazing show that wasn't even trying to be honest. Like Paul actually told me to watch Veep. It's the chick from Seinfeld. What's her name?
It's Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
Who's seen it other than Paul? Is it just me?
Huh?
Has
Paul,
anyone seen Veep except for me and Paul?
I've seen a couple episodes back when it first aired.
No, well, I binged the first season in like 3 days because it was amazing. I
Nice.
just love seeing her, the woman I grew up with in Seinfeld, dropping F-bombs like it was amazing.
Yeah, it was great. I should probably get back into it, for sure.
Well, they just finished the last season a little while back, so.
Really? It lasted that? I was under the impression it only lasted a couple seasons for some reason. I don't know why I thought that.
No, it lasted a long time.
I must have no faith in female protagonists.
She ends up as president.
Of course.
Yeah.
You have to any protagonist that close to the Oval Office, you have to explore that way. Honestly, this is actually so. I grew up watching a lot of political drama, and I've continued watching a lot of political drama, and I've seen the best of it, West Wing, and then I've also seen what I would consider the worst of political drama, which is Designated Survivor. And Designated Survivor, it's Jack Bauer meets the Oval Office, and I guess it's hard to say it's not bad for what it is, like it's good for what it is, but what it really is just 24.
It's
You know?
24, but in the West Wing.
Yeah, and it's just I mean it's absurd. It tells really. I mean I like predicting the way storylines are going to develop, things like that. I do that as like writing exercises when I'm watching television. But it's not even it's not even fun to do it with this show.
I was
Hold
gonna
on,
say,
I've
how
got other
predictable
people's
is it?
audio I need to turn off. It's incredibly predictable. Okay, these people
See,
need to
that's
stop
the thing,
talking.
like, if you're gonna write something like that, at least have the common courtesy to make it interesting, or like make
mean-
it unpredictable so that the audience doesn't have to like get bored
I don't
three-quarters of the time through watching it.
I
You
don't
just
mean to
turn it
be an
off and you don't-
elitist. I don't mean to be an elitist, but it's just for it's not a show you have to really think about. It's just a show you passively experience. You know, it's all about the drama. It's all about the next insane thing that happens. It's just like every
course.
episode trying to one up itself. Again, it's just like 24. It's like Jack Bauer wrote the damn thing himself, you know. And this is just a novel this is just the real story of Jack Bauer's life that we found in his memoirs. Like, it's ridiculous. But
so it's Jack Bauer fan fiction. But,
it's Jack Bauer fan. Yeah, exactly.
But Jack Bauer fan fiction written by Jack Bauer himself, while he might have been, maybe a half a bottle into some Jack Daniels there, maybe a couple of weeks into a bender, and just decided, screw it, I want to write about myself as president.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I can't remember what his role in the show is exactly, but I'm pretty sure he's involved pretty heavily in its production in that sense. So I'm not surprised.
Fair enough.
But I don't know. It wasn't like the worst thing I'd ever seen, but it definitely wasn't. Was nothing. It was nothing to write home about. I don't know. But West Wing is definitely a better show. It tells phenomenal stories about individuals, and it really, like, honestly, if you want to understand like the nuance of politics, if you've ever wondered why don't politicians just do this, watch an episode of The West Wing and you'll understand how fucking complicated it gets. Like, 2 seconds into the debate. So it's to no surprise. But yeah, great show. On HBO Max, not on Netflix anymore. It's a damn shame.
I tell you the one thing I miss about early 2000s is it seems like that might have been one of those sort of pre-golden ages of TV where there was surprisingly a lot of decent science fiction on the air, and there was decent political dramas on the air, like The West Wing.
Yeah. No, there was.
And now we just have nothing.
Honestly, like I've tried to write, or I've tried to understand a lot of writing, and I honestly don't know how they write shows like West Wing, especially how much like they wrote. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, Lawrence McDonnell, a protege of Rachel Maddow. He has his own show now.
Mm-hmm.
He actually was a writer on The West Wing. Is that crazy?
No, I did not.
Yeah. He wrote a few episodes. At least one of them was, according to him, was extremely popular, and he brings it up in public debate sometimes. So as much as we hate MSNBC for being extremely partisan hacks, I do like to believe that there are good people on both sides, and I think that Lawrence McDonnell might be one of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, if he wrote for The West Wing, I think I agree with him. Even if he works for a, this like unbelievably degenerate news corporation like MSNBC.
No, come on. Let's not even talk about Fox News here. We don't talk about degenerate news agencies. Let's
go to OAN then. Come on, let's go to OAN, Paul.
No,
if you want to go,
no. Oh,
like
man,
I thought Fox News
no.
was bad. Like you fucking remember when Bill O'Reilly cut the mic of the son of a 9/11 victim?
Oh my God, yeah,
Because
yeah.
because his son, the guy's son, had the audacity to bring up the Mujahideen. I saw that live, by the way, because my dad was a super conservative. So like we're using like I saw that live when it happened.
Uh-huh.
He fucking cut his mic because how dare you?
Isn't that
Like,
wild?
Bill O'Reilly acted like he cared more about his dad than this guy did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean I thought Fox News was the pinnacle of horrible news, but I guess OAN has filled the gap. So have fun with that.
Yeah, well, I think our standards have just like, we've just all been pushed in one direction along the spectrum.
Our standards have now gone so low that OAN, which is like maybe a half a step away from like listening to Joseph Goebbels during the 1930s.
Yeah, no, it's
Hey,
trash.
Shut the fuck up. How dare you say that? Half a step? Come on, quarter step.
Well, I
Quarter.
guess we're gonna go with. I mean, hey, how dare you group Joseph Goebbels in the same sentence as OAN? At least he attempted to have some news occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, Paul, man. I had no idea you were such a white supremacist.
I just want to point out to anyone listening, Paul is the most liberal of all of us. All right,
yeah.
so he cut his teeth on neoliberal politics. He works in government. All right, the statement he just made does not reflect the views or opinions of the other members of this stream.
Paul, you gonna respond? Yeah, Paul, you gotta respond.
I wish I had a bus emoji for this, so that people in chat could just like spam the hell out of it.
I have to say, like, OAN is just, I don't know what the hell, I don't know who thought up OAN, but whoever did, I either want to hug them or punch them, and I don't quite know what. Like, I feel...
It's both or either.
Thank you for at least, like, showing us how deep the rabbit hole goes, but please don't. I don't need to know that people actually listen to and believe in this garbage. Like, please. I want to live in my ignorance.
No, I'm no longer at all ashamed to just point out when I think someone has a trash opinion. And I used to like not want to do that for a while. There's this like period where it's like, well, I mean, respect and blah 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 and all that. But before that, I was of the same fuck you mind that I am now. It's just it was from a place of being a teenager not giving a shit. But
yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, I'm right back to it. Some ideas are just trash. The Earth is not flat and shit like that, And communists aren't trying to take over. And being conservative doesn't mean you're evil. It's just like, it's absurd. Just the dumb opinions people have. They're not even shocking anymore, which is why OAN is successful as it is. That's really what we're talking about.
If we can be serious for a second. Go ahead, Paul. Let you finish, and then I want to continue.
I think OAN is as quote unquote successful as it is.
Whoa!
That is my dog.
Get that pooch under control.
Largely because it's got the money. They have all of the money from the Mercer family, so they can just spend whatever they want. And they don't have to worry about their bottom line at this point.
Oh, fair enough.
By the way, Aaron, that's a sick ass skin, man. Did you pay for that or what?
I can't remember. I love it though. It's got that same Windows 95 vibe I'm rocking.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Which is probably why, if you're being completely honest and completely authentic, then because it's Windows 95, they should be running at roughly 5 frames per second.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm glad the stream runs as well as it does.
No, it looks great, man. I'm glad you figured it out. Hey, Max, you there, bud?
I'm here, yeah.
All right. So, have you guys listened to NPR recently? Because I did, and I was horrified. Horrified is strong terminology.
So what's wrong with NPR? What
did they? Show me on the doll where NPR touched you.
I don't know. For most of my adult life, I thought NPR was like PBS. Like they're sort of center left. They have their biases, but they're objective and they pursue truth much more than say cable news channels.
Yeah.
And so for 15 years I've been listening to them, but I stopped recently and I got back to it. And like I don't know if it's like post-Trump kind of repression coming out,
Uh-huh.
but like it was like so ideological. Like I don't know if I changed or they did, but it was so ideological. Like it was. It actually, I don't want to speak ill against Lakshmi Shang because she's a great reporter, but like I had no idea that like they could mirror the partisanship of AM talk radio. And from my experience yesterday, I think they have. What's your experience been like? Am I crazy?
I don't know. I grew up watching. I grew up listening. I grew up with a mother that listened to Tom Likas. All right, like so my perspective on like what's good or bad to listen to is probably insanely warped. Like, you know what I mean? Like for anyone who doesn't know who Tom Likas was, he was this radio shock jock in Seattle area up in Washington for the longest time, and he would just say things like all women are sperm receptacles. And then he would just and then hold on and then he would just argue with women that called in on the show that were pissed off about what he said. You know, like it was a total circle jerk pretty much. But yeah, it's like that's the kind of shock jocks. I grew up on shock jock radio. You know, Howard Stern stuff like that.
I've never heard of this guy.
You've never heard of Tom Likas? Oh man,
Tom Likas is amazing. He was the original. I mean, he's awful. I hate him, but he's the original like incel red pill type, MRA type.
Oh no.
Like I can send you a video when we're done. Where hold on, Aaron's getting shot at.
That's fine. I don't care. The game's not important.
I care. What's important to me? I want to see where. Hold on.
I'd just like to point out that while Aaron's getting shot at, I'm playing Battlestar Galactica Deadlock because I have to do my part to kill the robots. Because
yeah, exactly.
One day my Alexa is going to rise up, and it is going to try to kill me, and I have to know how to defeat it.
That's actually why I treat my Roomba like really well. I'm not gonna lie. Like so, I named it. Like I pat it when it's done and I pick it up. You know. And I'm not gonna lie. I'll find garbage to throw in front of it for like little snacks.
Yeah. You're just really terrified that someday.
Too.
Yeah, you're really nervous that your Roomba will eventually convert to Islam and then he'll be called a Boomba.
Oh my god. I just want to point out that what my friend Rocky just said does not reflect the views or opinions of the other members of this stream.
It doesn't reflect my views. I'm just making a fucking hacking joke.
No, it was hilarious actually.
It's a pun.
Listen, no, Boomba, that was.
we all know that Islam is a good religion, a great religion, and the crazies are the ones who fucked up for everybody. I understand that.
Yeah.
That being said, I also have seen enough ISIS videos to know that that's funny, so fuck you.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. You're in the clear.
I think the more concerning thing is that you had to preempt your discussion with I've seen enough ISIS videos.
Yeah, how many ISIS videos have you seen exactly?
There. I don't know. I mean, I can take my porn photo if you want.
Oh my.
No, honestly, there's like 4 or 5, but they've all been horrendous, like barbaric, awful. I saw one where people got dropped into cages alive into a lake, and they came out and they were dead. Like, yeah,
that's
Yeah.
I didn't know there was water in that part of the world.
They were using modern technology, which I'm pretty sure is against their teachings. And I'm pretty sure that the tractor or whatever, like
they're not Amish. What are you talking about?
Was probably developed by infidels in America because they had like I don't know, it was like the actual crane was like built in the West. So like imagine that. Like,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, you fucked up right there. Look, you can hate it up until you have to use the computer and the crane to get your propaganda out there. Then you kind of gotta like shut your mouth a little bit because you're using the technology and it wouldn't have been invented.
I don't know if ISIS is anti-tech. I mean, I don't have my copy of like the ISIS manifesto on me, but I've never heard of them. I've never heard of them being. I've heard of them kicking over like old statues and that destroying cultural artifacts, but they're not Amish. Oh, okay.
Now I'm trying to imagine the idea of Amish ISIS. What would that look like? So are they gonna like raise a barn and then torch your house? Like what are they gonna do?
They could. They could, I
Amish life.
suppose.
That's a good question. Have either of you, or I guess you too, Max, have any of you actually interacted with the Amish or in any real capacity? Because all I know about them is that they're like a meme in New England, but I actually never sat down and talked to one.
I've
Have you
seen
guys
them
ever
on
talked to?
I used to go to the Amish festival in Federal Way when I was a kid because my mom used to go to buy the what was it, the Amish quilts and some of the kitchen stuff that they'd sell.
Huh? Yeah.
It was interesting. But it always felt like a really tacky like county fair because I'd always think like, why are they me like being 9 years old and not understanding like, you know, the religious concept of the Amish. I would think to myself, why are they not wearing normal clothes? Like, why are they doing like Ren Fair versions of like Sport Nisqually here? Like, why are they doing Sport Nisqually?
Okay. Here's a thought experiment. Let's say, what's America's #1 enemy? Like, I mean, we have a whole bunch of them. Obviously not Russia. Let's say China. Who cares? Some group penetrates our country, and then takes over. Will the Amish identify as Americans and force themselves into a rebellion with muskets and firecrackers?
Muskets and fire.
I mean, I would be very interested to see what they do.
I would be disappointed to see them abandon their values like that.
Now here's the question: when the robots rise up, are the Amish going to be the only survivors? Because they're the ones who don't have the robots, and they don't have cell phones or computers. They're still back there with a horse and buggy. So
No. That's no.
Yeah.
They're not gonna. They're definitely not gonna leave them alone because to the robots, apathy was worse than being an enemy
that's
when
true.
it came to the treatment of the machines. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's true. That is true.
yeah.
What I'm saying, if the Amish did have a Terminator, it would be called the T200 because they're not developed enough to have the 1000.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like, it would be. It's steampunk. I could see steampunk being a thing for the Amish. You know what I mean? If they were that pressed.
Well, I'm assuming all of you have played Horizon Zero Dawn, right?
Yeah. Do you think Aloy
robots regardless?
is Aloy Amish?
No, I'm just saying the machines are not gonna care. They're gonna eat all of us regardless of who you are.
That's true. So I did see that. I did see that article. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. See. And this is so basically, if you haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn, it essentially takes all the most horrible developments that you could put into like technology and combines them all into one. One, it makes them self-replicating. Two, it encrypts it makes them so secure in their encryptions that they can't be controlled by anyone but like, you know, like one source. It's like losing your Bitcoin password and, you know, getting rich. And three, they gain energy by consuming biomatter. So it's like yeah. Oh, here we go. Energetically Autonomous Tactical Robot was a project by Robotic Technology Inc. and Cyclone Power Technologies to develop a robot vehicle that could forage for plant biomass to fuel itself, theoretically operating indefinitely.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great fucking idea. Thanks. Good choice.
Yeah. It's
just make us all get.
Hold on,
eaten by the
my
robots
audio's
and-
coming in on someone else's. Just keep that in mind if you're listening.
Yeah. Meanwhile, sheep have decided to create an AI machine.
Who?
Meanwhile, sheep have created an AI machine that only eats other sheep, and they call it a wolf. We're fine now.
Oh, I get it. Okay, well, look. The problem isn't these individual technologies. It's just combining them together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whose bright idea was like, hey, I know, let's get a robot that lives off of biomatter, because eventually that robot's not going to go. Its programming is not going to get to the point where it says, but that person has more potential energy than that plant.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
'cause that's
obviously. Well,
never
okay,
gonna
all
happen.
right. Well, hold on. Look, you can build. My toaster might be able to, like, if it could think for itself, it might be able to hurt me if, like, I stuck my hand inside of it. But I don't care how much hate my toaster has for me. It's not going to come for me while I'm sleeping. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just
I-
limited naturally in that sense.
I think my first question is, what have you done to make your toaster hate you this much?
I'm not nothing. I'm just saying if I
I
had.
hate rye bread.
Actually, have any of you heard of the there's this sci-fi story from the 60s called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw the video game you told me about.
And
Okay,
I
yeah.
have the video game. I played through it a long time ago.
Jesus, that sounds horrible. I'm never gonna do
Dude,
that. But
Harlan Ellison is a trippy fucker. Like, I don't if he wrote that back in the '60s, so I don't know if you know anything about Harlan Ellison, but he's this like really sort of weird avant-garde type sci-fi author. He wrote so Aaron, you'll probably know this. Rocky and Max, I don't know if you know much about Star Trek, but Harlan Ellison wrote the original draft for City on the Edge of Forever from season 1 of Star Trek, the one where
wait, the original series or what?
yep, the original series. He wrote so it's the City on the Edge of Forever when Spock and McCoy and Kirk go back to 1930s Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and it's what is it? Edith Keeler, the pacifist, like saving McCoy saves her, and they change history, and blah blah blah.
Wait, does it have
So-
Nazis in it?
Yes.
Basically, all right. So the rule is if they go back in time in Star Trek, there's going to be Nazis there.
Yeah, you
Of
know
course.
why? Because Star Trek was a progressive, an ideologically progressive show that just never ever cared about the struggles of the German people.
Yeah, Jesus God.
No, okay. I gotta say, I love Star Trek because I love how forward thinking they were. Like I know that,
Yeah.
for example, like the first interracial kiss on TV was done on Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
it was
but I
Kirk
think-
basically like manhandling. Oh my gosh, what was her name? But-
Uhura.
Well, no, I was thinking the actress's name, but yeah, you know,
Oh,
it's
Michelle Nichols.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so I love Star
but
Trek
hey.
for being so forward thinking, and frankly, I should probably go back and watch them.
Oh, you
just to see
should.
how much of their ideals have been manifested 40 years later.
Yeah.
Since you two have seen it, what has been your experience looking back? Were they right? Like, were their ideals realized in the 40, 50 years since they created the show, or not?
Honestly,
I don't know.
no. The ideas are still very much alive, like you know those progressive values and whatnot. But we haven't really moved much as far as you know attaining them, if that makes any sense.
We haven't, and I think it's largely because like Gene Roddenberry he was a visionary writer, but at the same time, I mean, it's going to take a while for us to get to the warp drive, and on top of that, it wasn't.
Well, it's not so
it
much
was-
about the warp drive. It's about the freaking like healthcare or you know like what we provide to our people, that kind of thing. You know how we are unified in this, that, or the other way. You know, as a society, that's kind of the angle, and that's where we're still stuck. You know, what are we gonna do? Like, what's our post-capitalist economy gonna look like? You know, what's our that kind of stuff. You know, how's our economy going to change over the coming years?
And that's I think we don't give it enough credit that's actually the hard stuff to change. Like dealing with social change is actually the more difficult of the two. Like technological change is almost kind of easy. I mean, we've lived through the most revolutionary changes to technology just in our own lifetimes in the last 30 years. And
Good question.
Mhm.
Exactly. Sorry to piggyback off of that, Paul. Sorry, were you done? I didn't want to interrupt. Or do you have more to say?
I don't want to interrupt, he said, as he interrupted. Paul, you
I
there?
want to piggyback on top of that, but I don't want to be a jerk on your stream. That's why.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Aaron, you have a right to laugh. I definitely sounded ridiculous there.
You're good.
What do you think? What do you think was more revolutionary in the last 60, 70 years? Birth control or the microprocessor?
You've asked this
terms of
question like a
control.
bajillion times. I'm gonna say microprocessor. No,
Ooh,
actually, you
that's
know what I'm gonna say. You know what I'm gonna say is that's immeasurable.
Oh, that's a cop out.
It is immeasurable. Like trying to make that comparison is a circle jerk. Like you can talk about how they are different, but you can't talk about how they're, like one's more than the other. Like they each dramatically affected let's see, how do you say it? They each dramatically affected their respective, how do you say it, like area of expertise, or their sphere of influence. There you go, right? Yeah, birth control definitely like forever changed how men and women just even interact, even before, like, honestly, birth control starts changing the relationship between men and women before they're even in a relationship. It changes the context in which they develop a relationship,
Yeah,
but the
Tinder would never-
microprocessor, you were just talking about the Arab Spring and Facebook earlier. Without the microprocessor, there is no Facebook, there is no Arab Spring, So it's like, yeah, fuck you, Paul. It is a cop out because the question is a cop out. The question is asking me to engage in mental masturbation.
Well, I was hoping that you would say that birth control was bad, because I would say, yeah, I also hate women.
God.
Especially their freedom, yeah. I hate their freedom.
Thanks, Rossi.
Which brings me to another topic. I don't understand incels at all. How are you that pathetic?
I understand. I've been on 4chan. Ask away.
Are you a card-carrying member of the incel party?
In this group. Yeah. Ask is the most happiest man in a marriage about incel shit. Yeah, go ahead. What do you want to know? Have you been red-pilled, bruh?
I mean, I've spent enough of my time listening to Jordan Peterson and reading his books that I understand how people can end up there, and I understand how they can get out of it. It's hard for me to really sympathize though, and I don't know, because it's such an undesirable personality. It's like being willfully ignorant, or being like anyone who just tries to thrive in their own misery. Like you don't even want to help them,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Fuck yeah, dude, you're on fire. Okay, so Chris Voss is a guy I mention fairly often. You said a million times. Okay, here's 1,000,001 for this one. Chris Voss is one of my favorite authors. He was I told you about him. He was a negotiator for the FBI for 15 years. And he decided to retire and then do the book tour thing. So he became a consultant for businesses to say, hey, I've negotiated with international terrorists, so pay me a bunch of money to tell your employees how to, function better, right?
yeah.
And he made a very similar point that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Is there more to that? Were you gonna add to that as well?
I guess the
No, he
question.
just stopped it right there.
Okay.
Cliffhanger.
Wait, what?
The ultimate cliffhanger.
So Chris Voss said that the only distinction between persuasion and manipulation is whether you want to hurt someone or you want to help somebody.
Ooh.
It's the same.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the same exact skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Persuasion is when you want to help somebody, and manipulation is when you want to use those same skills to fuck them over. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. No, that is interesting actually. Like it's interesting how like important intention is when it comes to people's opinions. Like you can have the best opinion in the world, but people will look at you with suspicion if they have any reason to doubt your intent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like which is one reason why people are so focused on like the concept of like, well-meaning liberals, as
Yeah.
or what is it, I guess, what did C.S. Lewis say? He said moral busybodies or something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, actually, C.S. Lewis. I never. I read like 3 or 4 Narnian books, but I never really got into it. But his view specifically on that is accurate. He said, though, to piggyback off of you, Aaron, he said that the busybodies who think they're morally righteous are actually worse than just evil totalitarians.
Yes, that's right.
Because
That's right.
totalitarians just want to have order and obedience. But when it comes to morally righteous busybodies, that's not good enough. They think they're doing what's right, and as a result, they will push as much as they can, no matter what.
They're doing it. Yeah, their tyranny is eternal because it's for your own good.
Boom.
So as long as as long as you exist, the tyranny is justified, in order to protect you or provide for you and all that. Yeah, it's horrible. It's a horrible set of ideas.
Anyways, enough about Bernie Sanders.
Hey, no, see, this is where I'm gonna deviate instantly. All right, because that guy's one of the only genuine politicians I've encountered in my age. There are very few of those. And honestly, it is more important to me that I support someone politically that is genuine in what they believe, regardless of their political affiliation, than it is to support someone who professes to have the same political beliefs and values that I have. Like I would literally vote for a genuine opposition candidate before I would vote for someone of, I guess, my own political inclinations, that is on my that isn't genuine or isn't authentic. I would vote, and that's the voting philosophy that I've settled on as an adult. But
And that's a good one.
I think so. Yeah.
Because you're still placing the person's character and their politics above party, and that's how you should be voting to begin with. That's how everybody should be voting.
I don't know if saying party is the right way to put it, but because it kind of transcends party. It's about trust, right? It's about saying,
Yeah.
I'm willing to trust this individual with my politics for the duration of their term, which is not something we typically think about when we're voting for someone on our side, because the trust is implied. It's assumed. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you don't really think about it. I don't know why I picked that up. I don't need that. That's trash. But yeah, so it's, I don't know, it's an interesting exercise, and there's a certain liberty in being able to say, yeah, I voted for that guy. This is why my sister still does not, my sister can't do this. She can't think that way. And so she still can't understand. She still can't understand why I voted for Trump in 2016, despite the fact that I'm not really I'm not really a Trumper necessarily. You know what I mean? It's like, and I tried explaining to her. I started saying, like, look, one thing that resonated with me during that campaign is that I had one candidate saying, hey, we're gonna leave, we're gonna drop the interventionism, leave other countries alone, and the other candidate was saying, we're gonna continue doing that, and you're gonna like it, and it's gonna be good for you, And having spent my own time in the Middle East, when I was in the Army, and done plenty of my own reading and learning into the politics of those areas and our involvement in them, it's like that didn't resonate with me in a positive way, So.
What a great fucking point, man.
And unfortunately, and thank you, but unfortunately, it's completely lost on my sister. Like she just does. She can't even wrap her mind around it. She doesn't understand.
Okay. I bring that up because, Paul, please correct me if you can, but I don't watch CNN or MSNBC because I feel like the humor that I don't have is currently growing in my brain the longer I listen to these fucking idiots. Right? They're awful. They're awful.
You can almost feel the cordyceps developing.
Yeah. It is, yeah. Like they are Bill O'Reilly, but instead of gun rights, they just care about whatever is the agenda of the day. Like,
Yeah.
It's so transparent how biased they are.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think God, what was his name? He's a black dude with a lisp. He
That
he
narrows
was
it
really
down.
big in the Obama administration. What's his name? He was calling on a Veritas video. What's his name?
Oh, I don't remember.
Van Jones is his name.
Okay.
And Van Jones, after Trump got elected, he actually said that it wasn't a black lash. He called it a white lash.
Did you say
Yeah, I
black
remember
lash?
seeing
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He called it a white lash, like
Mhm.
as if white, middle class white people are a problem. And he interviewed people who agreed to go on a show, and in an attempt to indicate that these are regular, normal people, it potentially caused more harm than good, because the only people that would actually go on a show were like clearly selected.
Mm-hmm.
But they basically said a very, very kind of a Diet Coke version of what you told me, which is, I don't hate XYZ. I just care about, not. I want an anti-interventionist foreign policy, and unfortunately, no politician has ever given me that.
Yeah.
They've always spoken about spreading democracy as if they're fucking Teddy Roosevelt, as if that even matters, or even is even a functional framework to you, for foreign policy in
Mm-hmm.
2020 or 2016 in this case.
Yeah.
Paul, you
Yes.
you have spent a lot of hard-earned energy focusing on these issues. Are you an anti-interventionist? Geopolitically speaking, what's your point of view? Because you've been in China, and worse, you've been in Alaska.
Thanks.
So honestly, like without any jokes, I'd love to get your perspective, man, because I think you have something to offer this conversation that I can't, because my lived experience is different.
In typical neoliberal fashion, I'm going to sit here and say sometimes intervention is required, but I think that we have become far too reliant on military hard power in the last 20 years, ever since 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is extremely to our detriment, because there is a lot of good and there's a lot of progress that can be made through smart use of organizations like the State Department and USAID and the Peace Corps. So
Yeah.
those are soft power agencies that, quite frankly, should have a lot more sway in U.S. foreign policy than they have the last 20 years. And what we've lived with since 9/11 has been a very military-oriented, reactionary foreign policy that's grounded in the precept of we were attacked. It is not going to happen again. How dare these sons of bitches think they can come here and we'll take the fight to them, and then we'll never have to deal with it back home. And the problem is that foreign policy only takes you so far. It only takes you to the consequences of decades of mismanagement, bad investments, and, quite frankly, misguided American and European and Russian, in some respects, foreign policy. I mean, Iraq and Iran were proxies for the U.S.-Soviet Cold War tensions in the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the social problems that have cropped up in Syria were a result partially of Soviet support for the Syrian state in the 70s and 80s under Assad's father.
Mm-hmm.
And the United States has also had its own issues with supporting Iraq and Saudi Arabia. No country has had a more fraught track record over the last 50 years in the Middle East than the United States. So
this actually raises an interesting question, because one of the subjects of debate lately has been foreign aid, and
I love foreign aid. I want more of it.
Exactly. It's foreign aid seems to have been essentially. How would you put it? I've got to actually wrap up here in a minute, but Paul talked about over reliance on military, and honestly, a foreign aid is a way to avoid that, right? It's an alternative.
it is. and it's a cheap alternative too. Here's the thing, like foreign aid investments are actually a fairly cheap way to buy not just soft power, but to actually support developing countries and actually begin the process of diverting people away from sort of life journeys that might result in having or having anti-American movements or even supporting anti-American military movement.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the sort of the most famous example of that is, I mean, if you know anything about Afghanistan, it's the end of the book Charlie Wilson's War, which is about Congressman Charlie Wilson, who's a guy he was from Texas.
Yep.
And him and his support for the Mujahideen in the early mid-1980s as not just a potential proxy against the Soviets, but as a potential U.S. ally. So there's this one of the developments that he talks about at the end of his book was in 1991 there was a push to begin investing U.S. foreign aid dollars into Afghanistan, and specifically to start rebuilding schools, basic infrastructure, roads, farms, the things to let people have lives again after the Soviets pulled out. And it was some pathetic number. It was like $15 or $20 million, and he had earmarked and he'd set aside.
That's not a lot of money.
No, it was like, these were all the schools we can build. These are the roads we can fix. It was effectively a roadmap for this is how we can begin to effectively invest in post-conflict countries in the Middle East and support their development, and also not allow, autocracies to move in, because one of the precepts that he put in there was, look, they're going to have elections if we're going to keep paying them this kind of money.
No, what?
I mean, it was like, look, if we're going to give you money, we're going to have elections here. Like, you're going to have a semi-functional, transparent government to actually track the spending. So, I mean, decent ideas. Guess what? It got shot down in committee because at the end in 1991, guess what? The Soviet Union collapsed, and everybody was like, yeah, but we don't need to spend money on this anymore, so Afghanistan can go to hell. Like,
so the whole country just kind of like left, wanting, Yeah,
we spent 10 years using them as a proxy battlefield, and then when the time came to actually shift that spending into the social realm, we diverted it probably into some wasteful, god-awful spending mess because it was 1991. And we probably spent it on something meaningless like a couple dozen cruise missiles that we threw at Saddam Hussein.
I gotta say, though, in defense of cruise missiles, they're really cool.
They are. I'm not to say anything against how awesome they are. I'm just saying, for the price of 10 or 15 cruise missiles, we might have been able to build more schools in Afghanistan in 1991.
And
which might have diverted more people from, becoming terrorists 10 years down the line? Maybe? Possibly?
What I want to know, though, these cruise missiles, were they fast, were they slow, or did they just use cruise control?
Jesus. All right. And on that note, I'm gonna suggest we wrap up for the night.
All right.
We got a solid hour in. I think this was insanely successful, actually. So we'll do a hot wash later. I'm around all night. What about the rest of you? I'm sure Paul's got to drink his chamomile tea and go to bed soon. Gonna get his teddy and all wrapped up.
Blood sugar. Yeah. And take some metformin.
I'm sure Maxim's going to bed early too, but Maxim's a tradesman, so like him going to bed early is more like acceptable, I suppose. For Paul, it's because he's a snoozy academic. Yeah. But
so you're gonna like stop the stream, or you're gonna play?
I'm gonna be joining Marcos and Tony for some Apex, and then I'm going to actually keep this running, actually, for anyone who wants to watch. And then it's just I need to switch my voice chat over so we can communicate. And then, and then I'll be doing more later. I'll be doing Vigor later on tonight as well.
Hey, okay. Well, hey, Paul, can you give me 20 more minutes on the call on Discord?
Sure, no problem.
All right. I appreciate
Max,
everyone showing up,
you're
especially Max.
as
Thank
well.
you.
Oh, what'd you say?
We thanked you for being here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. No.
Yeah, you-
I just
yeah,
heard
you-
Ron
Yeah,
say my
yeah,
name and then
yeah. Fuck you, buddy.
started
No.
talking.
Fuck you, buddy. Hey, Maxim, you want to go to bowling?
Nico. Jesus. Oh man. All right.
All right, listen, I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Honestly, I think I'm more excited for the next stream than you are, because I had a great time with you and everyone else here. So
It literally wouldn't have been the
yeah,
same
yeah.
without you guys. So thank you so much.
All right. So Paul, Max, I'll call you on Discord, and we'll kind of figure things out until we go to sleep. Okay?
All right. I want to thank everyone who stopped by. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and give the channel a follow. And if you didn't, but you know someone you think might, go ahead and send it to them. There's also a Twitter page just for it for quick updates on schedules and stuff like that. So thank you, everyone. And